All right, Tristan, the Detroit Lions are next up on the chopping block. Record of 9-8, finishing up last season. 8th best offense, 15th overall, and 29th ranked defense of last year.
Yeah.
First in special teams. With all this being said, 9-8 is a pretty good record. Barely missed the playoffs last year. How do you think this team shakes out this year? And give me their over/under. I think, what is it? Look here.
9.5. Vegas
9.5.
got them at.
Thank you for that. So 9.5. It's really on par with kind of what they did last year. What do you have them over/under?
The Lions are the favorite to win the division, which kind of surprised me because Minnesota won 13 games last year. I thought they would be the recurring favorite. Obviously, everyone's in love with the Lions. They were on Hard Knocks. I think we kind of saved Dan Campbell's job. Everyone loves him, me and you included. So they're almost the team everyone is kind of rooting for. You know what I mean? We want them to do well. We like the personalities. We want them to get over that hump. They have not won the division since 1993.
Oof.
So that's quite a long time. 30 years, right? That's going to be the question. With all this pressure on them, with the spotlight on them, are they going to be able to handle it? Are they going to rise to the occasion, or are they going to crumble? Because even though they won 9 games last year, and it was a good season, by Lions standards, they should have been in the playoffs, and they blew it on multiple occasions. If they split the division games and they win the games that they should win, then I've got them at 10-7 for sure. These are a couple of the games that stand out to me. Just look at their schedule real quick. Week 2, Seattle. Week 13...
They open up on the road at Kansas City, so that's a tough open right there.
They open up on the road at Kansas City, and that's a loss. It's over. The Chiefs are hanging the banner. I think the Lions will fight, but obviously they're going to lose that game. Week 2 against Seattle is a must-win. You can't start 0-2.
Yep.
It's going to completely derail the season. If they somehow beat the Chiefs, then, congratulations, holy crap. It's going to really set them off. But you got to win Week 2 against Seattle. New Orleans, Week 13, and Denver, Week 15. I think those are the 3 games that if I could look into the future and see the outcome, if I saw that they won all those games, or 2 of them, I would be very confident. But they just have so many players. They should get better. Jared Goff had a career year last year, 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns. I think he's going to do well again. You drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. They brought in David Montgomery. I think they will replace Williams and Swift just fine. You've got St. Brown, still as a great receiver. Jameson Williams, he's out 6 games, but he'll come back. They brought in Marvin Jones from the Jaguars. He had 500 yards last year. Drafted Sam Laporta at tight end. The offensive line, they're returning 4 starters. The offense should not take a step back at all. The offense was excellent last year. That was the buzz of last year. Like you said, they were 5th in points per game, 4th in yards per game. Ben Johnson's a great offensive coordinator. He could have been a head coach, and he wanted to come back and be with the Lions again. The question's going to be surrounding the defense because they were atrocious. Are they going to make the improvement so the offense isn't having to put up 40 every game to win? But just objectively looking at the schedule, I think they can win 10 games, and I think they should win the division.
Yeah, they finished, 28th with points allowed in the entire league, so that's not good. You're only better than, 4 other teams? My biggest concern is going to be that running back field. How well are they able to replace Swift and Williams? Because, let's be honest, last year Swift didn't really do much to contribute to the team. He was out, some injuries last year, and he didn't. I just feel like he kind of fell off.
Yeah.
But the defense is where you have to step up. And they've added some pretty key positions here to help with that. So, you got Hutchinson, which is, he's fantastic.
He's a star, yeah.
Jack Campbell, a rookie out of Iowa coming in, that should help.
Yeah, that's a good addition.
He was great at Iowa, and hopefully he can translate that into the NFL. Some of these linebackers can, and some they come in and they fall flat on their face because they haven't played. Coming from a team like Iowa, too, you don't play the same talent. I'm sorry, everybody get mad at me here, but you don't play the same talent as you do in the SEC. It's just true. It's facts. However, a lot of these linebackers out of these teams like Iowa and stuff tend to do really good. Plus, Jack Campbell sounds like a really cool name.
Campbell is like a good linebacker name.
Brian Branch, the cornerback out of Alabama, I think, had it here with your notes here that he was a steal in
Yeah.
the second round. I agree with you. That was a huge steal. This guy can change a game. I mean, we saw it at Alabama. I think we'll see it on the field in Detroit at some point this year as well.
No, I completely agree. I think Brian Branch is a huge addition in the draft. Like they got criticized for the Jahmyr Gibbs and the Campbell pick, but they kind of turned it around from there on in the draft. Had a really good start. They're gonna need some help in the secondary because the secondary was rough.
They got it.
But they added a bunch of guys. They added C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They added Sutton. They added Emmanuel Mosley, who's had some injury issues. I think that should kind of shore up the corners. The key for them is the pass rush because they struggled really bad despite having Hutchinson, who's a stud. But otherwise, they kind of gave up a lot of yards running. Hutchinson's great. James Houston, he's good when healthy. He had 8 sacks in 7 games last year. So, like, if he could play all season, that really makes me feel good. They can't be any worse, right? Like, the defense cannot be worse because the offense was so explosive. They could put up so many points. They had to, though. The defense, like in the game, if the defense could have just got one stop in a couple of these games, they could have won 12 games. So I imagine they can get to that point. I am not as concerned about the running back situation as you. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fine along with Montgomery. And I also think the special thing about Gibbs is how they're going to be able to incorporate him in the passing game. Like you lose Jamison Williams. The guy was injured last year. Now he gets suspended. Can't seem to get on the field. We'll see. But having Jahmyr Gibbs as that option for Jared Goff, that's going to play a big part in the way they operate. The offense, maybe it's not as efficient as it was last year. Maybe they do take a slight step back. It's possible. But the defense is, if they just got to be better, I think they will be, though. I really do. And compared to the other teams in the division who didn't, other than the Bears, didn't make a lot of additions, really, when we talk about Packers and Vikings. Vikings and Packers also have, rough defenses. I think it's theirs for the taking. This is their moment. Aaron Rodgers is gone. You have to do it. This is the year you got to do it. I think they're over. What do you say? You didn't give me yours yet.
Yeah, I guess I should probably do that, huh?
Yeah.
You got to play Kansas City. You got to play Baltimore. You got to play, let's see here, Minnesota a couple times, which obviously multiple teams do. Dallas, at Dallas. The thing is, all their tough games are on the road. So Kansas City's on the road. Baltimore's on the road. Dallas is on the road. Dallas is a Saturday game.
So I just when I looked at the schedule, I had them losing all 3 of those games, and I still could get them to 10. So,
man, it's so close on this one too. But for me, I'm going to go under here.
Really?
I just don't. Yeah, I don't trust. So one thing you and I have always said: games are won on the trenches.
Yeah,
they haven't done much to their D line, and their offensive line is going to be fine. But their defensive line, they didn't really add anybody to that to help.
No, this is true.
So I don't think that they've done enough improvement there. I think they're still going to allow a ton of points this year. Maybe it gets a little bit better, especially in the passing area because they've added some key pieces at safety and corner and things like that.
Yeah, they overhauled corner and kind of didn't touch D-line.
Right, and so they may allow less points, but I think there's still going to be a big gap there in that defensive line that's going to just hurt them in the long run. So I'm going under here. I say they win 9 games, and which
you think it's a repeat of last year, 9 and 8?
I think it's a repeat. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they only won 8. Maybe they get in their head and think they're too good for what they actually are, and they lose some more. But I think 9 wins at max is what they hit this year. And I love Dan Campbell. I love the Lions organization, what they're doing right now. I don't mind Jared Goff. I think he's a really good quarterback. He can air it out. I mean,
he was really good last year.
Well, yeah. I mean, they finished with they were 5th in points scored last year in the league, 5th. Yep. But they were also 28th in points allowed. So
exactly,
there's a huge discrepancy there. If you're 5th and then 15th in points allowed or better, you make a playoff run. That's usually how the numbers stack up for you.
And so that's why I think they go over though, because if they were 5th, offensively points per game last year. Just say the offense drops down, okay? Say they drop down to 8th in points per game scored. But if the defense can move up to, like you said, even to 16th, that should be enough to balance me a win, to get me over.
And I don't. This is a tough one because I'm thinking like, well, even at 9 wins, do you think they make the playoffs at all, or do you think they get into a wild card slot?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, and that depends on. I guess. I mean, I know you don't think Green Bay is going to win the division. I guess that kind of depends on where you have Minnesota. I don't know if you want to give the game away yet, or if you want to wait till we get to Minnesota. But
yeah, I don't really have none of these teams in my book are super hot, and I probably pump the brakes on a lot of them instead of giving them the nod. But I don't know. Maybe I should go over here. And I know I'm kind of just talking this out through this episode here.
it's okay.
But,
Everybody's falling asleep now, so
well,
keep going.
They better get up. It's football season. I'm still going to stick with my guns and go under here.
I don't like picking over because it's like, ooh, do I really think, like, haven't won the division in 30 years. I think they're going to do it this year. But just looking at the other teams, looking at the schedule, all they got to do is win one more game. And we'll see. I think they can do it, though. I really do. I think it's their year. And if they don't do it this year, then it really is a missed opportunity because it's got to happen right now.
I do think they win the division.
Okay, so there you go. So you think they're in the playoffs then?
I do.